Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the biggest problem here in America, and that is not systemic racism, it's not police brutality, it's actually education. That's the biggest problem. That's the worst institution that we currently have here in America, because college is a huge scam, and I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to show you exactly why. So first thing we're going to do is take a look at this Washington Post article, where they state that only 20% of college grads have a job related to their major, meaning that the other 73% studied coursework that they are not using at all in their job, meaning it was completely irrelevant. All the time they spent in college was a huge waste. Everything they learned in college was a waste because they're not actually using it on their job. And then now let's talk about the other 27%, the 27% of college grads that did get a job related to their major. Well, a good portion of those are people in the medical field, because in order to be a doctor, if you want to be a dentist, if you want to be a surgeon, the only way to do that is to go to medical school. So that is going to be the main focus of my video today. I'm going to talk about how inefficient the education system is. I'm going to talk about the collateral damage that it's causing. For example, this is one of the big contributing factors to why there is extreme healthcare costs here in America, because the education system is just grossly inefficient. So let's take a look at what the curriculum looks like to become a doctor. So the first thing you need to do is you need to do a 4-year undergraduate degree, most likely in biology. It's going to be filled with coursework like calculus, like biodiversity, organic chemistry, physics. How relevant is that to becoming a doctor? We'll do this. Next time you go see your doctor, go print out a calculus exam and give it to your doctor and see how well he will do. See if he still knows derivatives many years after graduating college. Give him a physics exam. Even give him an organic chemistry exam. See if he can pass any of it. And this isn't a slight at your doctor. I'm not trying to say that your doctor's stupid, because he or she would obviously fail these exams. What I'm trying to say is that the coursework that they learned was irrelevant. It was a huge waste of time. And I would even go a step further than that. I would say you can go up to a student that got an A on their calculus exam and give them that same exact exam, no changes, just a few months later. See if they still score the same. I guarantee you they're going to score less. They're going to do way worse on that exam. And why is that? Because you know as well as I do, the way colleges operate is, for the most part, students cram for exams. They try to memorize as much material as possible just hours before the exam. They take the exam and then forget the material shortly afterward, because the only point of learning that material was just to take that exam. It's not actually something you're going to use on a day-to-day basis. And the way memory works is, if you don't revisit that material, if you're not constantly using it, you will forget the material. And think about this. At the end of your time in college, what did you really learn? If you can't remember your organic chemistry, your biodiversity, your physics, your calculus, then what did you really learn? Basically nothing. The only thing you did is you just crammed for a bunch of exams. You passed them, you did good on your tests, and then eventually you just kept making your way through, and then you got your degree. But you didn't actually retain any relevant knowledge. And then, after you do your undergrad degree, then you go to grad school. So in terms of medicine, you go to grad school, and after several years of grad school, you then go on to residency. And residency is where you actually do, quote, on-the-job training, where you are either shadowing another doctor or have another doctor shadowing you. And this is how people really learn. For anything else, for any other thing that you could possibly think of in your life, the way you learn is you shadow and you observe people that are doing what you were trying to learn to do. But for some reason, we take this concept and we just throw it out the window when it comes to school. Instead, we put a college student in a classroom for years studying stuff that is completely irrelevant, which is not actually going to help them on the job. And then after 5, 6, 7 years, we finally let them do the on-the-job training, where they are really able to learn what they aspire to do. So what does this do? Well, number one, by injecting the coursework with lots of irrelevant material, you keep students there for longer. And when you keep students there for longer, you charge them more money. So now you have an 8 to 10 year curriculum, and you've created all these artificial barriers to entry too. You have all these really hard classes like organic chemistry, like calculus, that are completely irrelevant to what you're actually going to be doing on the job. So you're creating artificial barriers to entry, making it harder for people to become doctors when a lot of the material that they're studying isn't even relevant to becoming a doctor. And since they're there for longer, you charge them more money. So at the end of the day, you have less students that graduate, and you have these big, giant debts. So then what happens? Well, doctors have to charge lots of money to be able to pay off those debts. And since it's very difficult to become a doctor, not very many people are able to do so. So you have a reduced supply. And when you have a small supply, price is high. So how do we fix this? Well, the first thing we need to do is completely revamp the curriculum. And how do we revamp the curriculum and include just relevant coursework and material? Well, here is my solution. So the first thing you need to do is you need to get, say, 100 doctors together. Let's get a big, large group of doctors together, and let's look at what they did over the last 100 days. And now you form a course curriculum just centered around that. What skills, what knowledge did you have to know in order to perform your job over the last 100 days? Now that is your curriculum. And then secondly, you shadow immediately. Instead of residency being 6, 7 years down the road, it's day one, because that's how people learn. You put on your lab coat and you were shadowing a doctor day one. And combined, now you have a textbook coursework curriculum material that is just centered around things that are relevant to what you have to know, and you're shadowing. So what we're doing is, by cutting out all the fluff, by cutting out all of the BS, by cutting out the calculus, organic chemistry, the physics, the biodiversity, by cutting out all the BS, you have created a more efficient coursework, and you've reduced the amount of time. And when you reduce the amount of time, you are reducing costs. So now college is going to be cheaper, it's going to be shorter. Thus, you're going to have more people graduating with less student debt. And what is that going to do? What is going to be the result of that? Well, if you have more people graduating, you have more doctors, the supply goes up, the price goes down. And not only do you have more doctors, but you have better doctors, because rather than distracting them with all this BS coursework material that's completely irrelevant, you could just focus on the things that you have to know. And you could even spend more time on the material that is actually relevant to performing the job that you want to be able to do. And I guarantee it, if you had 2 dentists on every corner instead of 1, your fillings, your root canals, your cleanings are going to be a whole lot cheaper. And that's my solution. That is my solution to the broken, inefficient college education system that we currently have here in America today. Please give me your thoughts. Write your thoughts in the comments below. Like my video, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.